This presentation was originally part of a panel entitled The Emergence of the Knowledge Popularizer between the Fairground and the Lecture Hall, 1820s to 1890s. Welcome. In this presentation, I would like to introduce to you an online resource, open resource, which gathers information about 19th century science popularizer Levi Kinsbergen Maju. I would like to start by highlighting a small advertisement published in the south of the Netherlands on September 1880. Monday, 27 September comes Maju. If today this name is hardly recognized in the Netherlands, this was certainly not the case for his contemporary audience. The advertiser felt no need to explain what he was advertising exactly. The concise sentence was deemed sufficient for his audience. So who was Maju, and what was to be expected upon his arrival? Focusing on digitized primary sources found in online archives of historical newspapers, I would like to present this interactive map, which introduces the fairly unknown figure of Levi Kinsbergen Maju, professor of magic, science popularizer, illustrated lecturer, and multimedia showman avant la lettre, working with technologies such as the oxyhydrogen microscope, the phonograph, and the magic lantern. This map depicts Maju as an active and versatile figure in the entertainment, cultural, and technological landscape of the Netherlands between the 1850s and the 1880s, while also maintaining an international network. Levi Kinsbergen was born in 1823 into a Dutch Jewish family connected to Fairground entertainment. He inherited his stage name, Maju, from his father, Meyer Kinsbergen. By the 1850s, when the first newspaper advertisements by the young Maju appear, he titled himself as Professor of Sleight of Hand, and he performed Egyptian magical arts a la Bosco. Over the next years, his repertoire included fantastic mechanical experiments, mimicry, and prestidigitation, which he delivered across the Netherlands. During this period, Maju also engaged in musical activities. Indeed, he listed often his profession as a musician in the city register of Amsterdam. Absent from the contemporary press from 1859 to 1863, Maju resurfaces then in London, performing at the Royal Colosseum under the name L. Kinsbergen Maju, Professor of Magic to the King of Holland, and later also at the Royal Polytechnic. His performances were advertised as a selection of his most interesting and astonishing experiments in natural magic and illusions, légère de main, without any apparatus. He also reportedly played tricks with mice and birds and disguised them in false skins and feathers. In 1864, Maju acquired the rights to exploit the Polytechnic sensation known as Pepper's Ghost and imported the illusion to the Dutch Fairgrounds, an act that would soon be known in the Netherlands as the Geest van Maju, the Ghost of Maju. Later that year, Professor Maju of the Royal Polytechnic of London held daily presentations of Le Fantôme in Brussels, and later also in Antwerp. In the summer of '65, the Geest van Maju toured again the Dutch Fairgrounds. After the summer, Maju returned to the London Polytechnic for the winter season. In May 1866, Maju imported another popular act from the same institution, the mirror-based cabinet illusion, the Sphinx. Maju's new performance was described as too short but truly surprising, highlighting the disembodied thinking speaking head who thinks and speaks as well as the viewer, but better because it does that in verse. Again, it was a success with the Dutch audiences. By the end of the year, Maju advertises his acts as scientific performances. In addition to the optical illusion, Maju creates an evening program by including experiments with microscopic and opaque projection. From 1867 onwards, popular scientific lectures formed the basis of Maju's performances. Maju sequenced different pieces into three-act programs, following the example of a typical evening program at the London Polytechnic. An example would be to start with the wonders of the microscope, followed by the account of Dr. Kane's expedition to the North Pole, illustrated with lantern slides, and to close the evening with a projection of photographs and paintings from the famous masters. By this point, the conjuring and magical vocabulary from previous announcements had given way to the terminologies of lectures and clarifications, following the method of the Royal Polytechnic in London. He now signed Maju, not professor of sleight of hand, but member of the Polytechnic. In 1871, Maju starts also offering open-air performances during the summer months. Dissolving views projected in gardens and festive illumination becomes an annual fixture in combination with the popular lectures. This shows an efficient use for his projection apparatus. While in the winter season, Maju delivered illustrated lectures, in the summer he used the same equipment for open-air performances. In 1878, Maju presented one of his most successful performances, the demonstration of Edison's phonograph. This performance included the lecture on acoustics, an explanation of Edison's device, and several experiments such as recording and playing back the sound of musical instruments and human voices sang, spoken, or performed by Maju. The phonograph lecture enabled Maju to engage with a variety of new settings and audiences. He demonstrated the phonograph to the Royal Dutch Academy of Sciences and in other prominent scientific circles such as the exclusive scientific society Felix Meritis in Amsterdam. Maju was quite eager to advertise this fact in the phonograph lecture tour that followed. 2 years later, Maju would present another technological development to the Netherlands, the telephone. He applied for the first telephone concession in the city of Amsterdam. However, he did not succeed with his application. This interactive visualization provides an outlook over the spatial and temporal distribution of Maju's performance strategies. Throughout his life, Maju engaged with magic, science, and technology as resources for his performances, working in multiple settings, traveling across borders, and reaching diverse audiences. Professor of magic, but also science popularizer, Maju is certainly an inescapable presence in the Dutch landscape of popular science and technology. I would like to invite you to explore this interactive map. You can access this resource through the link that you can see in the screen. Thank you very much.